Pretty fun. A lot like the fingerboarding scene. Here we are talking about running on a fingerboarding podcast.
Man,
Abstract.
talk about a little bit of everything. Talk about life, talk about fingerboarding, talk about just the journey. Welcome to Usafbl Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Levine Cunningham, and I'm excited to be chatting with Josh Hinojosa of Gibby Decks. He's known as Gibby Decks on Instagram. Josh, welcome to the podcast. Super stoked to have you on.
Oh, super glad to be here, man. Really appreciate you having me on.
Definitely. And so for the viewers that don't know the logistics behind this episode, me and Josh here have been going back and forth between internet connections. And so there is a lot of extra work just to bring you this quality content for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, we got a few B-sides if if anyone's ever interested in
technical difficulties. Now I know what they mean.
Yes. You're like, what's going on? They look like they're fine. But no, technical difficulties for sure.
Definitely.
Hopefully we got it straightened out.
All right, so for people that aren't quite familiar with you, let people know like where you're located out of.
So I'm in Rogers, Arkansas, little northwest Arkansas, this little corner up here, Rogers, Bentonville, Fayetteville area. Walmart HQ's here, good little spot to be. Moved out here from Southern Oregon in 2009, and just love it out here.
Man, so I know Rogers. I'm from Branson, Missouri, for the OGers who's been listening to me since day one. So I've been living in Branson, Missouri for about literally 20 years now. And so I didn't realize that Josh was so close to me. And so, I mean, you're about a 2-hour drive basically from where I used to live, my hometown. So that's pretty cool to be out there in the Ozarks for sure.
Oh, yeah. No, we love it. Actually, the golf store I work at, we were always Caddy Shack for the last 12 years. And we just recently changed our name to Ozark Golf on that. They put up the signs like yesterday. So since the last time we tried this thing, we changed our name from Caddy Shack to Ozark Golf. Now, I really love it out here. Like I said, I'm from Southern Oregon, born and raised there. And when I moved here, I kind of thought like I was leaving something behind, like that outdoor feel. And Oregon's amazing, but Arkansas, the Ozarks, it's got its own little special qualities to it for sure.
Definitely. I am a motorcyclist, like not like bicycle pedal bike, but like motorcycle 2 wheels. But Arkansas, the Ozarks, Branson, I mean, that whole area out there, absolutely gorgeous. Oh, yeah. And we have probably the best twisties out there for sure.
Yeah, Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue was here last weekend in Rogers. They moved it from Fayetteville to Rogers. So that was interesting, and went running a few times, and just all you can hear is just motorcycles forever. It's pretty cool. I wreck bike. That's why I was out running. I run trails and stuff like that out here. I've always just wrecked bikes and never had the best of luck on them, so I don't get on them anymore. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot.
You should know your limits. It's better to know your limits than to not know your limits.
You learn them the hard way, you know what I mean? You go over the handlebar a few times and you're like, nah, I'm cool. I couldn't imagine that on pavement, just sliding forever or whatever.
It's not a pleasant experience.
It's the consequence that, but if I'm out there running on some trails, nothing bad's going to happen, especially at the speed that I'm running. I have a 100-mile race next Saturday on the 7th, the Arkansas Traveler 100-miler. And there's some rugged sections out there and stuff like that, but like the worst that's going to happen is like, I'm going to, get cramps or whatever from just like not eating right or getting too hot or something like that. Like I don't worry about like falling and like actually hurting yourself on a bike. That would probably definitely happen.
Man, I'm envious. I've got to get better with my health. I get winded going to the mailbox, and you're out here talking about a 100-mile race.
100 miles, yeah. I've done it 3 times before. I'm 3 out of 5 at this particular distance. You have a 30-hour time limit. You start at 6 a.m. on Saturday, and you have until noon on Sunday to finish. There's like 28 stations, so like every like 5 to 6 miles, it's crazy. You'll be in the middle of the night because like it doesn't stop. So like 2, 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden you're just in the woods with this headlamp, and you hear just loud music playing, and then you come into this little like some of these aid stations like Bahama Mama and they have all these different names, and you come in there and there's like a generator going, and they've got hot stuff for you to eat, and things to drink and just like encouragement and stuff. And they root you on in the middle of the night. It's the whole vibe's crazy. You're like, after you've gone like 60, 70 miles and, you know, it's the middle of the night and it's all dark and you start seeing stuff. And I don't know, the whole thing's crazy vibe, but I got hooked on them pretty hard. And I'll keep trying them for a while. I think it's like the only way to like get back to that is to try another one. There's no way to replicate it. So
no, that's definitely, if I had the ability to keep up and at least, you know, make a good run at it, as you would say, I would probably try those out as well. That seems like definitely a different vibe. And I think the culture for that it's unique and very Pacific as well. Like you can't really experience that any other place, I believe.
Yeah, totally. Kind of like the fingerboarding scene. I mean, it's way different than road running. Like you can go to like a 5K or up to a marathon. I've run more 100 milers than marathons. I did one road marathon and kept going. But yeah, it's a pretty cool scene. And it's a lot of it, people get addicted to the scene part of it. You can have you have a crew. Each person has like a crew of people and they can meet you at specific aid stations and spots. And certain places you can have one person out there with you. They call them pacers, but kind of just like a buddy to make sure you don't like get lost in the middle of the night or something. But yeah, so it becomes kind of a team oriented thing, and then you'll do whatever for your buddies. You know, I've done a handful of these myself, and then I've helped out a handful of my friends. It's an adventure for sure. I've done relay race too one time where we went from, I think it was Omaha to Lincoln. It was called what was that called? Either way, it's from Omaha to Lincoln, market to market. And you do the van thing with like 6 people and you run like different links, like 4 and 5 mile sections. And that's cool. And that's a team thing. But no, the 100-mile distance is kind of a crazy thing. You get a belt buckle when you finish, and that's where you get addicted to the buckle thing. You know, you get a little collection of buckles going. So yeah, It's pretty fun. Pretty fun. A lot like the fingerboarding scene. Here we are talking about running on a fingerboarding podcast.
Man,
abstract.
Talk about a little bit of everything. Talk about life. Talk about fingerboarding. Talk about just the journey.
Yeah, my dude, abstract fingerboarding on my team. Josh, he's actually the one who got me back into fingerboarding. He sent me my first wooden deck like 4 years ago. But I knew him from the running scene. His name's actually Strider Streak on Instagram, and he has a pretty big running account. He runs every day. He's a streaker. He runs at least a mile a day every day. I think he's missed like 2 or 3 days in the last like 8 years.
That's wild. See, I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I get to know him through the running scene. And then my son's watching this Davy Jones video on YouTube, and I'm like, I can do that. And he gives me this look like, you know, whatever, Dad. So I go down to Walmart the next day, walk across the street to Walmart from work, and get a couple tech decks and bring them home. Kind of show them that like, Dad can kickflip. I can still do that from like the late 90s or whatever. And then get to talking to Abstract, or you know, Josh, and he sends me a wooden board, and I think there was some CNC wheels and some trucks from Fingerboard Connoisseur in there, and some stickers, the little Mustache Man stickers and stuff. He totally hit me with this little care package and just blew my mind. And within like, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months, I had bought a 3D printed press or 3D printed mold on eBay and started making them in my backyard. And then we had a turkey named Gibby. And next thing you know, my son's like, let's name it after Gibby. And I'm pressing turkey decks. And yeah, here we are.
That's wild. All right. So
that was like the fast forward version.
Yeah. So did Abstract, Abstract got you into fingerboarding, or were you fingerboarding?
No, back Abstract? Into it. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I kind of skipped I got into.
Tell us the origin story.
The origin story was tech decks, right? 97, 98, whenever that was that they came out. At KB's Toy Store, we were just talking about that or before we started recording. At KB's Toy Store, they had, if you spent $20 on tech decks, you got a VHS of Fingers of Fury. And so that was the start for me. I went ahead and did that, made my initial investment into fingerboarding there, and just wore out that VHS. To me, that was like the credo of fingerboarding that Darren Longhorse guy said to make it look just like skateboarding. So like, and he had the little curved ledge right there with the little planters and stuff. And it was all to scale, and that's really what did it for me. It blew my mind that was a thing. And to do it, if everything was going to be to scale, then to do the tricks to scale. You know, he says something on there about anybody could flip a board in the air and put their fingers on it and call it a trick. But to be able to do, like, and he shows like it's like a little tutorial. He shows shove-its and pressure flips and all of that sort of stuff. So that would be like the origin stories. Yeah. KB Toy Store.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. The was Flying Fingers and then Fingers of Fury. And I actually remember that I was too young to quite understand like what he meant by putting style to it. Because at like 98, that would have put me at like 10 or 11. So I wasn't quite like mentally there. And then of course I wasn't even a skateboarder either. So like it was hard for me to, I guess, to kind of like reach that concept. But now when you say that, because I've seen it like a million times, I can almost recite it like word for word. And like as soon as you said that, I was like, he does.
I hear the music when I'm fingerboarding.
Yeah,
I heard it. You know, I thought that was one of the coolest things about your event is you had that.
I put it in the mixtape, whatever. Yeah, I
was geeking out to my wife. I'm like, Summer, that's sweet. She's just like, what are you talking about? You know, she's sitting at the booth or whatever. But yeah, and it's funny too because there's that guy Darren Longhorst or whatever talks about doing finger push-ups, and then there's the two French guys that had that really cool turntable.
I remember the turntable. Like
Tech Deck just kind of came out with them, but those guys totally. We have the video here. Those guys totally have that little stop backwards ollie kick, even on their kick flips and everything. And me and my buddies used to call that Frenchy style. We'd be like, "Oh, that was pretty sick, but that was Frenchy," you know, or kind of like it was a knock. Nothing against my French people out there. But yeah, we'd call it the Frenchy style. Would be kind of, I still see people do it today, not as much anymore, but that was like how you learned how to ollie, was catching the board, the momentum of the board, bringing it forward. And so, yeah, anyways, that was like the beginning of it for me and just geeking out on the style of it. And just how far, when Abstract sent me a board to fast forward 20 years later, I'm 41, by the way.
Okay.
So I'm definitely a little bit older.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I was like middle high school years, like sophomore in high school, messing around with those things. Probably got into them right before I could drive, right? Lucky for me. But yeah, so fast forward, and he sends me this wooden fingerboard. Josh sends me this wooden fingerboard, and I was blown away by how far it came. First of all, how wide it was. I think what I had was probably like 26 millimeters or whatever those old Tech Decks were, 26 or 24 or whatever. But yeah, I was blown away by the one he sent me. Was super aggressive. I don't even know the brand on it. It had real wear and it was completely worn off. I put this Clayton Kershaw sticker, Dodger sticker on. I still have the board. But yeah, he sent me this board. I was blown away by how far it had gone. So then I instantly went down the rabbit hole of like, he had sent me those fingerboard connoisseur wheels and all that. So I looked at that dude's stuff, and then I saw, you know, just basically how far like Black River and these people in Europe had taken Tech Decks or fingerboarding to what it was. And then next thing you know, I was making a board and going from there, basically.
No, that's cool. What got you into making fingerboards? Like, what got you just be like, you know what, I want to start making fingerboards?
So after he sent me that wooden deck, I actually reached out to, I can't remember the guy's name. It's a defunct little brand now. I started looking on Instagram. I see some stuff. He had a couple riders that were really good. So I asked him, do you do any decks? Can you make a custom? And I sent him this picture. There's this Tiger Woods, Tiger King. Like someone had melded their faces together in a meme. And I'm a golf pro, so I thought that was hilarious. I actually have it on a shirt. So I thought that would be funny. Well, the dude takes I think it took like a little over 2.5 months to get the board. So in that meantime, I got impatient. I got on eBay and bought a Punk 3D printed mold or Punk fingerboards. I think they're still on there. A 3D printed mold, and just started pressing my own decks in my backyard. I'd press them in my backyard, and then I would bring them into the golf shop and use the belt sander here at work and the drill press and all that sort of stuff. So I actually made probably the first, I don't know, 30 or 40 until my boss was like, "Hey, Josh, you can't just make fingerboards all day at work when you're supposed to be working on golf clubs." No, he really didn't. But I decided to take all that stuff home before it became a problem because I could see it happening pretty quickly. It gets addicting. I think
It does.
it scratched an itch I didn't know I had. Right, like um, when I was chasing the golf professional dream and all that sort of stuff. I played pro golf for a long time, but I built houses. I cooked in the kitchen. I did all this stuff, in the off time when I was not at the golf course. And now that I just build golf clubs and do fittings and stuff, I guess I didn't really realize I missed that with my hands and stuff and actually building something about wood. It's different than other stuff. Just being at home sandling, like I'm whittling, like I'm an old, like I'm an old man or whatever. I'm like whittling at the house, but yeah, it just, it was something therapeutic for me. And then I've never been the kind of person to just do anything halfway. I didn't just golf. I went professional. I don't just run a race. I run 100 miles. I'm just kind of weird like that, I guess.
No, I'm kind of the same way. Anything that you do,
Yeah,
you pretty much do it top notch. And so it's honorable.
yeah.
I like it. I respect
You
it.
didn't just do it. You didn't just do an event. You did a tour of events all through the country. Yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, you know what I'm saying on that. So then it really became about like, okay, so if I'm gonna mess around with fingerboards and I'm gonna care about it, then I want to make the best decks I can. And if they're just pressed wood, why would I spend $60 on a whatever brand? You can insert brand. Beef pants. I don't care. Whatever, get the resale on whatever. And I've had all of those decks before, by the way. I went out and I bought a Beast Pants. I went out and bought a Famous, a Chems. I wanted to see what was out there. I wanted to see what the quality of it was. People were kind of hush with like their secrets or whatever, like that, whatever. But I watched some YouTube videos, whatever. You can figure stuff out if you really want to. So I did. And yeah, it became about making the best board for myself. And then I figured, what the heck am I going to do with all these boards in the meantime? I may as well give them out to people and see how they are. Like I had some tester boards. I had a bunch of, Josh, obviously Abstract helped me out a ton, but he had a sponsor at the time, HD Decks, who's no longer around. It took me like 2 years to get Josh, but when that other company went under, it was like, okay, you can ride for me now. But I sent him boards the whole time, and he always let me know how they were and all of that. He's such a good dude. Hawaii FB was one of the original testers. I think he got like the third board. I used to stamp them. I had like a golf punch from a golf club, and I'd stamp the first 20 boards. Actually have numbered stamps.
Wow.
The first 20 I ever made. Yeah, I think Josh Abstract has probably half of them. He's like hits people up, and he's like, "Hey, heard you had an old Gibby. You want to trade me?" Or he has like 50 or 60 of them. He's got a collection. But yeah, so really that was the evolution of it. Was just trying to make the best boards I could for myself, and to do that, you have to make a ton. So I made as many as I could, and I sent them to the coolest people that I could find, or the people I thought were the coolest. And they gave me a bunch of feedback and helped me get the boards to where they are now, basically. Them and my wife. She's the one that had the idea for the clear coat. Those of you who have used a Gibby know that there's a little bit something going on. There's no way you could just spray poly that thick onto something or to make it that glossy. So that was all her idea. But yeah, that's really what it's been about the whole time, is just making the best board that I can make. Because if I'm going to waste my time fingerboarding, it better be with the best thing I could do. It's the same with golf. It's the same with whatever. I don't go golf with just some random set of clubs. I'm out, I've been a sponsored golfer by Wilson for a long time. But it's to my specs. It's all that sort of stuff. So you don't feel like you're wasting your time, sort of thing. So that's really where it all came from, I guess. I mean, selling boards and doing all that stuff's cool. But at the end of the day, I'm a fingerboarder first. I've definitely kept it like all hobby on purpose.
No, I love that. I mentioned it quite a few times over past episodes and stuff, like kudos to, you people that are making decks, obstacles, parks, whatever it is, because, 95% of us are fingerboarders first. And so wherever we're making a product, stuff like that for, just the general public and population, like, it takes time away from our real passion, which is fingerboarding. And so it's very hard to
Oh
do
yeah.
one without the other. And so like I said, huge shout out to all my deck makers, product makers, anybody that's basically taking time from fingerboarding to basically give us all this cool stuff to use.
Yeah. And it goes both ways too. We talked about it on one of our other takes. Because you've been making boards. I bought all those other boards and I checked my quality and stuff against them, but I don't use anybody else. And like you were saying, it's really hard once you get to a certain point. Um, I have bunches of friends that are deck makers that I've met over time, and I trade with anybody. If you're a deck maker and you want to trade deck for deck with me, I would love that. I trade within, to add to my collection, but I am not going to set up one of your boards, unfortunately, because you only get one board, right? At one time, I mean, I guess there's that Asian dude, Ochiro or whatever, who can do both boards.
Yeah, both hands, yeah.
But really, that's like what I keep thinking about is like, you only get to put one board under your fingers at a time, right? So I've been trying to make the board that people want to put under this. That's it. If I want to use it, you'll want to use it. Everyone will want to use it. That's really the goal. So, while I like everybody's stuff and I understand it's a collectible thing, if I don't have my own board under my fingers, what am I even doing selling it to anybody? No. If I don't believe in my product enough that's what's going to be under my fingers when it counts, then what's the point? So
no, definitely, you got to stand behind your product for sure. I actually have kind of a fun fact for all the viewers and listeners. I absolutely hate, and I'll say it again, absolutely hate setting up brand new decks from scratch. I don't know why. When I was younger, when I first started out, like in the first 2 or 3 years of my fingerboarding journey, like I used to love it. And then like probably about a year before I went into like a 10-year hiatus, like I kind of just didn't like it so much. And then coming back into fingerboarding, like I got some slight arthritis now, and like my hands like to cramp up if I'm doing it for too long.
It's
and
all
like
so small.
And everything's so small, and I got like absolutely huge like Edward scissor hands, like just terrible. Oh, yeah. And like I'm kind of gotten to the point where like I get these like setups and stuff. I'm like, I need to set this up and try it out. And like it'll just sit because like I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't.
That's awesome. I need to get one of those I need to do something too. I'll grab usually just grab a dish towel or something so that the screws don't go rolling away. But I need to get
a magnet tray where I just set everything up on the magnet tray. So if I do drop it, it just sticks right to it. So I'm tired of getting my little retractable magnet wand, whatever, and I'm waving it around on the carpet trying to find these lock nut.
Good idea. I'm just down searching with my flashlight or something.
I've got $30 worth of lock nuts on my carpet. It's
oh,
I know. Yeah. If I ever hit it rich, I'm definitely hiring a full-time board setter upper person. That's first order of business.
I know Teak. I saw one of the Teak has one of those little setup things where you can set your board upside down and tighten in the sides and stuff. I just haven't gotten that far yet. Maybe Geraldine's got it all figured out. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to ask her. See what's up.
Yeah, you'll have to get her on here for sure. I can't wait to meet her. I guess we haven't really talked about it. I'm co-hosting an event here in Rogers, October 14th, at the Center for Nonprofits with Geraldine, the owner of Teak Tuning, and then Benny from Dallas that is Good Vibes. Let's put it that way. They're in between locations at the moment, but I'm sure they'll have something awesome going again soon. But yeah, Benny is Good Vibes. So yes, they're coming up. She lives in the Little Rock area, they're both about equal distance away, 4 to 5 hours away. So they're going to come in. We're going to co-host it, and we're going to raise some money. We're going to have a bunch of stuff for raffles. We're going to do some comps and stuff like that. I think we're doing $5 entry, and that's going to get you in the spot, in any competitions you want to be in, and get you one raffle ticket. And then we're going to sell raffle tickets for $1 or something. We're going to have a bunch of stuff that's been donated. And then all the money is going to go to local crew outreach who does a lot for skateboarding in this area. And So that'll be really fun. I'll have to ask Geraldine when I see her how those work out.
Definitely. So just a recap, it's a co-hosted event between Gibby Decks, Good Vibes, and Teak Tuning. So this event is going to be located out of
The center Rogers, Arkansas, and it's at the Center for Nonprofits on Walnut. It is actually it's the old hospital that has been redone, big 2-story brick building, and it's in the cafeteria area, which has all been redone. They don't have nobody eats in there anymore. It's just this big cool little space. It's got like full length windows and stuff like that. It's gonna be really nice in there. So we'll get that going. Should have some good parks. I'm really excited. Benny's bringing up a plaza, and I've got a handful of them. I've got some Flatline FB is here. He's in Fayetteville. He's local to me. He's going to bring up some stuff on the table. Gluten Malone, who's on my team, is coming up from Dallas, and he's going to bring his table. They'll have some Black River ramps and stuff like that. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like it's going to be a banger for sure. I love how you like throw out all these names, and I'm like, oh, I met like half these guys at the Dallas.
You did,
event.
yeah. I'm sure you probably did at the Dallas event. The Dallas scene's awesome, man. That's really what it's all about. What Benny's been doing down there, just by being all about fingerboarding himself and the person that he is. Just the hardcore scene that he's got down there is pretty awesome. You've been down there a bunch of times when they had the shop and stuff. I've been down there, and it's just the same crew of people that are all about it, and it's really awesome. So that's a big motivation.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a local leader. He's definitely keeping people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, basically just pretty nice close niche and just growing that area and stuff. So kudos, big shout out to Benny with Good Vibes.
Oh yeah, he's the OG, man, for sure. Striving to be like Benny like that.
Yeah, definitely. And then I consider like you to be one of those community leaders and stuff like that as well out in the Rogers, like just Midwest-ish, the Ozarks area, I guess you would say.
Yeah, that would be super cool. We're trying pretty hard. Local crew outreach, Jose and his wife, the money will be going to, or whatever that they need, the proceeds from the event will be going to. They actually have this thing called Local Fest that they do with a brand called Death Row out of Joplin, and it's 6 skate events throughout the year, really in Northwest Arkansas, but we did one in Fort Worth last month, and we did one in outside of Oklahoma City in Norman. So the outreach is starting to stretch out a little bit further, but we bring our little plaza, and we bring like a tent, basically. We bring a booth just like everybody else does with the fingerboard stuff to all the skate events. We've been doing that. I think this is the 3rd year now that's been going on, basically since we started. Since we started as a brand or a company or whatever you want to call us, as a turkey who makes boards. But yeah, we're really just really blessed to be a part of what they have going on and what they're doing here in the local community. Like they do one before school every year, and they have barbers out there giving them the school age kids free haircuts and collecting school supplies for the competition entries. When we were in Fort Worth, they had the city out there giving away like snow cones to kids, and just they had like you go up and there's just drinks and hot dogs and everything. They're really doing awesome stuff. And I mean, besides growing skateboarding in the area, they're just doing good stuff for people. So it's really cool to be a part of that.
No, definitely. I mean, the scene out there, I mean, kind of describe the scene. I know for a fun fact that we almost did a collaboration type event back in 2021. We were talking about doing something together before I ended up moving out to Indianapolis. Just the timeline didn't quite work, but I mean, what else kind of going on out there?
Yeah, we're trying to do, so that event did go down. We called it Gibby Fingers. It was at the Rogers Skate Park. Jose from local crew and them came out and helped us do it. Really, we're trying to, yeah, we're just growing fingerboarding as much as we can through those skate events. There's a guy, Jimmy, who has Get Real Skate Shop, the mobile skate shop. That he's just got a brick and mortar store. We were talking at the last event. We're going to try to do like Fingerboard Fridays. Once he gets the shop up, it's going to be right across the street from the new Bentonville skate park that they're building. So yeah, we're just really trying to grow like a scene. I know there's a lot of fingerboarders here. There's a decent amount of skaters. Each city in the area has got like a concrete park and stuff. So yeah, just trying to it's more like we need a spot to hang out. I think when any time that we have something, the scenes kind of showed up, and all these people, even at the skate events, now at the skate events, a lot of the skater dudes will have their fingerboard in their pocket. And they're like, dude, I made sure to bring it. I knew you were going to have the plaza here, or whatever. So I think it's really ready to pop. Like, it really needs somebody like a Benny type figure who had a place to facilitate it. I think it's right there. We've talked about doing the nonprofit thing with Gibby and maybe getting a spot in the Center for Nonprofits. I mean, I don't do it for profit anyways, so maybe we could give more back that way and have some sort of spot in there. Yeah, I'll show you at the event. By the way, Levine's hopefully coming to the event.
I am working on it. Definitely.
Put him on the hook. He's got to go see his mama or somebody. Got to go see some family. So, yeah, that'd be cool if you come through. But yeah, local crew has a skate shop inside of the Center for Nonprofits, and it's because it's what it is, and it's for those types of businesses. I don't even know what they pay, but it's not much. But everything they're doing is giving back. So if we could get some sort of little spot in there, maybe have like a physical fingerboard spot where people could come, even if we're only open in the evenings or something like that, that would be a super cool thing.
Yeah,
things
definitely.
that working towards it for sure. Not even necessarily a shop for Gibby, because I do that at home. That's a separate thing altogether.
No, I understand. Yeah. I understand.
Gibby's got Gibby's got its own office. We have a nursery that's attached to the bedroom, and there's no young kids anymore in the family. So it has a little office. It's got a desk, and the press is in there, and got like a little bench. I got a playground, a Black River playground and stuff like that. So I got a little spot for it to keep it. But I think having just like a place where people could come and fingerboard would be like what Good Vibes was.
That's what I was always trying to I wanted to have a storefront where like people could just always just come hang out, purchase the new, just upgrading setups or trying out new setups, stuff like that. Just kind of a hangout place. Because I feel like once we get to a point where like, there's just more and more just hangout spots, they don't have to be like big stores or anything like that. Even if it's just like a small kiosk or something where people would just literally go and just
that would be cool to have a kiosk at a mall.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those kind of popping up here and there and stuff. But I mean, once we can get to a point where that's more like the norm, like I feel like, that'll definitely push fingerboarding forward and getting more people involved, stuff like that.
A couple of years ago, me and Flatline, Anthony's his real name, we did on the back of the building here, there's this loading dock here, and me, him, and 2 or 3 other guys, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, we did put a little thing on Instagram, but we called them the loading dock sessions or whatever, and we had like 2 little parks back on the loading dock, and it was just like anybody could come by, at the back of the mall, back of the old mall. Something like that would be super cool. Or like if I know the local the cities around here have like First Friday or Second Friday in the old downtown area where you can go like walk around. I always thought it would be cool just to pop up my playground and just stand that guy in the middle of it fingerboard. People are going to walk up and say something to you, or like, hey, some kids are going to be like bugging their parents. I want to go see that real quick. If you had a couple extra fingerboards in your pocket or whatever, like, sure, here, go ahead, touch with me for a minute.
Oh, that's so fun. I did that here locally in Indy. So we have like several Comic-Cons that come through. And of course, me being the Comic-Con sphere, owning the Branson Con and stuff. So that's where I get a lot of my event experience and stuff. We actually were a vendor at that 3-day weekend Comic-Con, and I had the G6 Black River Plaza out there, along with some cool merch and cards and stuff like that, just kind of like promoting the storefront and stuff, trying to get people like just more involved in realizing, like fingerboarding is here. We've got a storefront here in Indianapolis, stuff like that. But you get all kinds of people just walking by and stuff. We're just fingerboarding on the plaza and stuff. And everybody's like, what? I didn't know this was a thing and stuff like that. And like, I mean, everybody was just like, this is the coolest thing they saw at like the Comic-Con out of like all things. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start doing some things like that. I mean, if we could if we do the nonprofit thing, I was kind of bouncing some things off my wife the other day. If we did the nonprofit thing, there'd be no really even charging entry. You know what I mean? It'd just be like, come, hang out. The only way to generate some money like that would be to have some product on hand for people when they wanted wheels or upgrades or a different deck or whatever, but there wouldn't be that sort of pressure on it either. Like you wouldn't have to worry.
I mean,
it,
once you get
it
to a nonprofit and you get it all developed, once you get it to the
there's
point where it's
$100 a
sustainable,
month.
like yeah,
Eh,
you're good to go.
yeah, it could be a little closet
Yeah.
somewhere. If it's $100 a month and it's a place that people could come into, like I'll pay that. Hell, Gibby will pay that. That's no big deal. Or shoot, if it's a nonprofit, you write that off anyway. So like, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go through that whole thing. I've kept this whole thing hobby on purpose. I mean, I have a real job. Like, this is what I do for fun, and I wanted to keep it that way. I turned golf into, I've turned everything into too intense, like we were talking about. So
Yeah.
it's been cool
I
to keep
actually had that
fingerboarding
conversation the other
more
day
fun.
with a guy. He's like, "What do you do like for fun?" And I'm like, "Theoretically, I guess I run a whole ass like international fingerboarding tour on in the
Right, my
summertime for
job is
fun."
fun.
Like, yeah, because I
Yeah,
still work a normal
yeah,
job just like everybody else does and stuff. And I'm like, that's actually nuts to kind of think about. Like, that's like my side hobby. Like, that's what I do. Like,
right, right. Yeah, like nowadays I work. I mean, now that I don't, even when I played pro golf, all I did was golf, right? I mean, if you're not practicing 40 hours a week, then you're not even trying at that level. But I work at a golf shop 9 to 5, and then like on my days off, I give golf lessons and do that sort of thing. But then on top of that, I'm trying to make as many fingerboards as I can. Like, yeah, I just stay super busy. 100 mile, like training to run a 100 mile race, like has been non-existent this time around. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. When you work, it's like one of those things. When your work becomes your hobby, you don't really work that.
mhm. Yeah,
I probably work a
it's
couple hours
wild.
a day at the golf shop. I mean, for the most part, I get to talk to people about golf and give them they come from all over to get my opinion on what golf clubs to use, like, and all that sort of stuff. So, um, yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying for sure. Yeah, I just try to keep it that way. I didn't want another job, right? I didn't want Gibby to be another job or another whatever that could be. So it's been purely hobby. It's been fun. Um, hopefully, hopefully it just keeps going the way it has been. I've been really happy with it. It's been super
Yeah.
rewarding.
Well, it's just compounded on top of each other, and at some point, it's just things will start taking off and working in your favor.
Yeah, no, yeah, slow and steady wins the race for sure. Uh, it jumped out pretty crazy at first, but I mean, we just hit it at the right time when everybody was sitting at home during the whatever you want to call those times. Um, Everything got popular again: sports cards, kendama, fingerboarding. I think there was that big surge of it, and now it's kind of just leveled off to probably where it was beforehand, which I wouldn't
Mhm.
have known about.
I've
So,
noticed that COVID definitely spiked fingerboarding
oh yeah,
tremendously.
golf did awesome. Golf was one of the things
Yeah.
that didn't shut down, and we never shut down in Arkansas or whatever. But we do most of our sales online and stuff, anyways, through the golf shop. We're a big
Hmm.
Amazon, do millions of dollars on Amazon. It's ridiculous. But golf was one of the things that didn't get shut down as well, and it's yeah, it was a cool time to hit it. The Gibby thing took off way bigger than I expected it to. Like I said at the beginning, I just sent boards out to people because I wanted to make the best ones for myself. Um, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
No,
It's been
definitely.
super cool to take it as far as it could go. I press them on. I use a hydraulic press, and I pressed them on a couple NFBs before he stopped doing the metal molds. So I use the aluminum mold. But I do try to keep it somewhat handcrafted. Like I said, it's therapeutic for me, so I still use the belt sander. Um, I do the countersinks and stuff with a hand drill instead of a drill press. I have a drill press. I just don't like doing them that way. It's more fun for me to do them, all the other ways. Every board is as close as it can be to perfect, but unique in its own way. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, definitely. I actually drill mine out by hand as well. I've got a drill press, and it is not. I don't know. I'm
I like
torn
the way
because
some of
it's
them look. Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
I feel like I can get a better look and a better like I don't know with the countersinks. Like I feel like doing it by hand. It looks better to me. Maybe I don't know. I don't know
and
why I
I
don't like
think
the
that
drill press.
I like the ball. Like everybody, it's just like our clear coat. Everybody's done it, right? So like, there's 100 decks that look the same as the Black River whatevers and the whatevers. Everyone's trying to make old Berlin wood or flat face. Like everyone's got the ball. the ball countersink with that, or the same rounded edges, the same popsicle shape over and over and over, the same poly clear coat or real wear. I was trying to make a nowhere deck. We talked about it once before on one of our other takes. What I was going after with our clear was to make a nowhere deck. Our graphics are like a very thin paper graphic or a vinyl that are like industrially printed by a guy that I trade golf lessons to for the stickers. So just spraying poly on them didn't work. After a while, they wore white just like any other paper graphic, like any sticker that anybody made. So my wife's idea was amazing. What the product that we ended up using, but that's what we were going for, was a nowhere graphic. It made no sense to me to spend $60 on a whatever brand deck and then have the graphic wear off because I was using it on a concrete fingerboard obstacle or whatever. You know what I mean? It just made no sense to me. So I wanted to make something that was like real and that would last, that people were, I guess it's not the best business model, but that people wouldn't wear out and that would stand the test of time. It ended up being
definitely crazy because you have pretty much a very unique way of doing the clear coat process to where it doesn't wear off. And so I think that your decks are extremely underrated because of this unique process. And so most people love graphics. Most people want to keep those graphics forever. And so like I see a lot of people buying board rails, all kinds of stuff just to try to preserve the graphics. And like Gibby's out here just got those nowheres where basically you can use these for literal years and like it looks like a brand new deck.
There's guys on my team. There's a guy, Ralph, in Dallas. He'll be at the event too. He has a local crew deck that we did over 2 years ago, and I've tried to replicate it probably at least 5 or 6 times. Ralph knows that he's like, dude, I'm not trying to be like that kind of guy, but this one's a little bit like, he just keeps using it, the same one, and that's totally cool with me. But yeah, they still have the same pop. They don't have that soggy feel to them. If you get like the wax and stuff from your obstacles on them, you can take some alcohol on a rag, some like rubbing alcohol, and wipe off the wax part, make it look almost new again. So the process, yeah, my wife's a genius. You're married, you know how it is. The women have the best ideas. I don't even try anymore. So all credit to her. And she's the one that she put them on for the first like year and a half that we did that clear coat. It took me a while to figure it out. I mean, it's a process and it's something that's definitely learned. It was a skill. If there's ever one that I want to look perfect, I'll have her. I'll say, hey, babe, can you do this one? This is like an important one right here. This is going to so-and-so or whatever the case. This one's going to Fingerboard Connoisseur. We sent him an Easter one a couple of years ago. And it was like, could you do this one? So it looks right. But yeah, I didn't want to do something that was the same as everybody else. Just to go back to the countersink thing. Everybody does everything the same in a lot of ways, and I didn't want to be another cookie cutter deck. So, I mean, from the turkey on them to the clear coat to the way that they're shaped a little bit. I mean, they're not a popsicle either. They're like more of like a real skateboard. The nose is going to be steeper than the tail. I have 2 different molds, but I designed them the same way. The nose is 2 degrees steeper than the tail, which is going to make it a little bit bigger. Just it's not a full popsicle, and some kids will be like, hey, well, I thought it was going to be a popsicle. Well, it's a standard shape. I mean, whatever. But yeah, I try to make it look not so cookie cutter, not like everybody else's deck. When people, I mean, they might not like them sometimes, but that's our deck. Well, after rigorous testing.
Yeah, but I mean, theoretically, you make decks for you the way that you like them, and so
exactly.
I
should do like we asked chat AI or whatever. We asked the AI the best fingerboard decks ever, and this is the mold that they gave us. I should just totally make something up. Somebody should take that line start a brand with it.
Someone will snag it now that it's out there.
AI fingerboard page. I just want the credit at the bottom. No residuals.
That's love right there. That's love.
There. No, that's okay because I'm not doing it. I mean, yeah. For sure, somebody can do it. they can have it. It's a good idea.
So if someone was thinking about picking up a Gibby Deck, kind of talk about like the sizes, shapes, what all you guys got going on as far as what you offer.
Yeah, so we'll do on the web. I'll do whatever really. If somebody wants like a random size and like a standard shape, I'll make somebody a 29 or something if they message me. But on the site, we do 32 through 36, and that's more just because those are the trucks that are mostly out there. Um, I probably sell more 34s through 36s. It seems like I don't know if people just lump us with a wider deck brand or whatever. But yeah, 32 through 36 and just a standard shape. I have a boxy shape that actually Josh Abstract. It was his shape. It's just like a standard, just like boxed ends. And I've got a couple other shapes that I would do like for somebody if they wanted to message me, I'd send them some pictures or whatever. But it's hard to chase down. I never wanted to be one of those brands that had like 15 different options, you know what I mean? Because that would have just been overwhelming for me. If you talk about like 3 different shapes and 4 different sizes, then that's like 12 different combinations. And we've had like 15 to 20 different graphics. Like it's been kind of crazy. So I've kept it kind of simplified on that. But if anybody has any sort of special request or whatever, they're more than welcome to hit me with a DM on Instagram. I always try to answer those. We follow darn near as many as follow us. If somebody follows me and I look at their stuff and they're a real fingerboard account, they're getting a follow back. I don't care if you have 1 follower or 10,000 or whatever. So I'm pretty accessible as far as that stuff goes. But for the site, yeah, just 32 through 36 and standard. But I'll make somebody whatever. Watch, we'll get all kinds of crazy requests after this. But no, I'll try whatever. I'm down to try to craft anybody anything for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. So you heard it here first. If you got some dreams, throw it at Gibby. He's gonna try to make it work.
Yeah, I'll try it. Yeah, I'll try it. No guarantees here, but I'll send you something that you can put 2 trucks and 4 wheels on and try to kickflip for sure.
No, definitely. So your brand logo is a turkey. I mean, tell people what's going on with the turkey. What's going on with
yeah.
Where did this come from?
So I get called Gibby all the time at the events, and my wife thinks it's pretty funny. But actually, Gibby was our turkey. I live down on the lake. We live on like 1 acre down on Beaver Lake. And when we moved into this property, there was an old chicken coop in the back. So we kind of thought, okay, what the heck? We'll try this thing out. We'll get some birds. We always wanted to do it. So we went down to the Tractor Supply and we got some birds. And then when we were down there, I think it was the second time we were down there. We had some coyotes come in and get the first round. I think it was coyotes and then raccoons. So like, anyways, the first batch of chickens did not do very well, right? So we shored things up a little bit and we go down there and you have to buy chicks in Arkansas. You have to buy 6 chicks at a time. I don't know why that's the state law, but it is. And then right next to the chickens, there was little turkey chicks. And the guy who was in there is like, why don't you get a turkey? They do really great with chickens, all that sort of stuff. And just kind of whatever. My wife does a quick Google search and she's like, okay, let's do it, So we didn't know the sex. And when they're that small, it's hard to tell or whatever. And we didn't know. So we get Gibby in the spring with the 6 chicks. And if she was a male, because males are really like dominant and territorial, she was going to be Thanksgiving dinner. But as it turned out, she was really sweet. She was, my wife used to carry her around a little bit and put her up on the desk and stuff. And yeah, she just became part of the family. All the chickens they all have names. They all have personalities. Like, we don't eat the birds, we eat the eggs and whatnot. But my friends, or my daughter's friend named her Gibby. I'm assuming from like iCarly, Gibby. That's the only assumption, the only other Gibby I've ever seen. But yeah, it just stuck, and she was Gibby. She passed away. She passed away in like, I think it was December, maybe, or November of last year. It was like she was like 4.5 years old. Really sweet.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Oh yeah, it's okay. We haven't done a turkey deck since. We're going to have to do something. The last couple decks, it just has worked out that way. The last couple decks haven't been turkey decks. but no, she'll always be the mascot and always be what the brand was about. It was my son's idea. We were outside actually messing around with fingerboards, and it was those first couple boards that I made, and I had put some stickers on them. These Dodger stickers I had, different players. That's my favorite baseball team. So I had done a couple different stickers on the one I made for him and the one I made for me. And then I let the birds free range when we're at home. I let them out while I'm out and kind of have a 22 sitting off to the side in case anything comes up. We've had to chase some stuff off before, which is just what you get from living out there in the woods. But yeah, so we just decided to name it after Gibby. We had a little Hobby Lobby in the mall here, so I went down and got some rubber stamps. The feather that's still on the top of the boards is one that we got from the beginning there.
Okay.
And then I got this cursive G, and we started selling those extra boards. Like I was saying, it really took, God, I don't even know when I got decent at it. It took a few hundred boards to really get proficient, I would say. I don't even know that decent, but like to get proficient at it to where I was making boards that were sellable by my estimations. I didn't sell anything for a long time. But when I did sell them, I sold them for 10 with the G stamp on the back of them. I sold them for $10 shipped. Just like the bare minimum that I could do just to, break even or whatever off the shipping. And I was sending, first class shipping is like $3 or $4. So I was just doing it to get them out there so that I didn't have 100 boards around.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't even realize that in order to become a household name or just to get your name out there, you have to, and I repeat this once more, like you have to just get your product out there. And
hundreds of them. Yeah.
A lot of people, they're like, oh, I need to make money, you need to make this. And I'm like, that's fine. But like, if you only have 4 decks out to the public because you only sold 4 decks on Etsy or your website or whatever, no one's going to see it. And so like a lot of people don't realize like you just got to get your stuff just out there. And so a lot of people, and here's a kind of a gold nugget, like there's a lot of meetups, a lot of fingerboarding events, stuff like that. Like definitely reach out to those event holders and sponsor those events and get your product out there as sponsor packs and stuff. And so it's a win-win.
Give it away.
Yeah, just give it away. Yeah. And so like it's definitely
everything.
A win-win.
Yeah. That's the first advice I have for anybody. What do you have right now? Give it all away. Find literally the bird gang, the team that we have, half of them are still from the beginning, some of the testers, but give as much of that shit as you can. Give as much of that stuff as you can away to get it out there. I've done a lot of different things. So like I said, I've been a professional for Wilson for like 15 years. This is why they have people like me who aren't playing anymore still giving them all the products so that people come into the golf shop and they see me use, what do you use, Josh? You're the pro, you're the expert. Oh, well, this is what I use, kind of a thing, right? It's the same thing for these fingerboards. We have all these kids and different people who watch all these people and they like almost look up to them or want to be like them or like, hey, I want to have a fingerboarding game like that. What decks do they use? Like it's the same sort of thing. You're never going to sell anything unless people are seen using your product. You only get that one fingerboard to put your fingers on. And if somebody's putting their fingers on a Gibby, well, maybe I want a Gibby. Yeah. Or whatever. It totally legitimizes what you're doing. In the 3 years, a little over 3 years we've been doing it, I have never said no to an event, like ever. If you guys are having an event, message me. I will send you 3 boards, no matter what. Still to this day, I probably do five a month at least. You know what's up. I mean, during the next season, 10 a month. I'll give away 30 boards a month. Extrapolate that by 3 years. You know what I mean? I've given out over 1,000 boards easy, like without doubt.
I believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're hosting an event or someone that's looking to host, like Gibby's definitely on board to help sponsor. USAFBL is on board. I am a strong believer of sponsoring events and growing the scene, and so definitely
Teak. I mean, you look at these little flyers that people put out all the time. And another debate, I was just having this debate with somebody about what people who run events could do for people who make decks to make it feel like they're getting their worth out of their product. Like I said, I'm giving 3 boards. Well, retail that's $75. which I don't care about, but my time is what I care about, right? So like to feel not even like marketing, but to feel appreciated or whatever. But yeah, if you see any of these flyers out there and you see a little turkey on it, we gave out a couple decks. We did all that sort of stuff to make sure that our boards are out there and that people are seeing using them for sure.
Yeah,
It's
no
always
doubt.
awesome when I have that event coming up in a couple weeks. I've done like story posts that are shared on a highlight on our page, and I'm also gonna in the next couple weeks you're gonna be seeing my mug in front of the camera here, doing unboxings for them all, just to try to do that little extra bit for the people to make them feel like they're appreciated for sending their stuff to the product or to the event that I'm having. It's cool to be on a little flyer, to see your thing on a little flyer, but anything extra that an event person can do is totally huge. Alan from Grind, he's amazing with that stuff, with his Chicken Fingers event and Grind Time event, and he does all of this. Hey, I can even think about a picture I'm doing. Hey, it's your boy Alan from Grind. He's gonna love this. Something like that, like to play both sides of that, to be the deck maker and the person who puts on the event, because I see both sides of it. Anything that the event coordinator could do. Arizona Finger Skates, Jordan just put on an awesome event, and he does that same sort of thing too. Any sort of little thing that you could do to give back to the deck makers or make them feel like appreciated, because our time's going into that. And that's really what this is. There's some handful of companies that are making some money. I don't know how many employees they have or whatever, but 95% of us are doing it for the love of fingerboarding. So like just feeling appreciated is the payment that we get out of it. Sure, selling some boards, like keeps Gibby rolling,
Yeah.
I'm still doing it and keeping it going, but it's not like my bills aren't getting paid for fingerboarding by any means. I don't know how many. I always think it's funny, like the pro fingerboarding thing. Like to me, if being a professional golfer, that's how I paid my bills, right? Or to be a pro skateboarder, you're actually getting a paycheck. I don't know any fingerboarders that are getting paychecks. You know what I mean? Like,
not yet.
It'd be super nice. It'd be super cool. Don't get me wrong. That's why we always called our decks like signature series decks.
Yeah.
I didn't want to call them pros. I've done a lot of stuff. Like I said it on the Finger Skate podcast one time. Like I've done a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I fought in a cage with them, but I've done a bunch of crazy stuff. But like for me to make somebody pro, I'd almost have to be a pro kind of a thing, like a black belt. Like, oh, you're good enough to be pro now, because it's not like they're making money off of it. So like, what is the determiner? And I like what you were doing on that podcast I did. Nostalgia FB brought up, what you were doing, trying to do like professional ranks or like have like a season long series with points and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe if we get further along with it and there's more big scenes like what you've got going or yours keep growing up, maybe there'll be like a pro class. But even then, what's a pro class, right? Unless there's cash.
Yeah, unless there's corporate sponsorships and stuff for sure.
Yeah,
so
that's pro, right? Pro is like take care of your family. But yeah, hopefully we get there one day. That'd be super cool.
We're very slowly
working
on it.
You see that dude? You see that Chinese dude on like the Sports Center? Post
there's
where
a Chinese figure skating championships and stuff over there.
I mean, if people are sitting around watching Rocket League, no offense, my son's a huge gamer, but if people are sitting around watching Rocket League, or people throw darts or cornhole, for Christ's sake, professional freaking cornhole. I love cornhole's cool, but it's switch kickflip down something.
Well, that's kind of my whole thought process. It's like, why aren't we on like, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3? I mean, hell, you can put me on Telemundo for all I care. I mean, like,
hell yeah.
If like people throwing a bag into a hole is like getting all the rave, I'm like, how is fingerboarding?
It's like fun.
I'm not saying anything bad. It is fun. Like I love tailgating and I love doing cornhole from time to time, but I'm like, man, like there's no reason why this should be taking that kind of a spotlight. And so like, I feel like fingerboarding could easily kind of squeeze in there.
No, you'd swap the two out. I'd be way more entertained than me.
Yeah,
that's just me. I guess that's us though. That's funny.
We're talking the dream, brother. We're talking the dream.
We're gonna get the haters. They were dogging on cornhole.
Nah, I'm sure the cornhole people will be dogging on fingerboarding too. So
I know,
we're gonna hold them accountable.
They get to drink beer and stuff. It seems like at their events, though.
That's
got to keep
true. It's one of
fingerboarding
the
all
only
over.
sports I know where you can literally do it with a beer in your hand.
You
So
got yeah, yeah,
I think fingerboarding
yeah.
could probably
You
do
got to
it
keep
too.
You could no, and there's always the after parties, but you kind of have to keep it all ages. That's probably the coolest thing about it. Really, this whole thing is I'm 41 and I'm going to fingerboard events and making fingerboards and stuff like that I did when I was a kid. So for the scenes of us that are like older, it's as much nostalgia as anything else. It's
Oh,
cool to see
definitely.
somebody like older that gets into it or used to skate and now can have the love of skating without the fear of hurting yourself or whatever, like I always did. But it's yeah, it's a super cool thing to be doing it at this age and to be this involved in something like that. It could be anything, so it's cool that it's something that I did when I was younger.
Oh, by far. I mean, 12-year-old me right now is like, bro, like you did it.
Oh yeah.
Like you did it. You made it.
You made what's that scene on Talladega Nights? He's like, remember when we were in eighth grade playing with Matchbox cars? I'm not gonna finish it, but yes, who is ridiculous now? We
I know,
are.
right?
Apparently. I've gotten messages and stuff from people, like parents of my friends. They'll see something on Facebook. I'll share something to my Facebook or whatever. I'm just kind of proud of Gibby and what it's doing, and they're like, "Who would have thought you guys messing around outside in the garage or whatever when you were kids? What it is now?" And it's like,
Come a
people
long
wanna,
way.
yeah, no, the whole thing has really. I mean, and it's all because of Tech Deck. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a pet peeve when somebody calls a fingerboard a Tech Deck, or when you're at one of these, like, I'm at the local crew events and some dude's like skates by, like, "Whoa, Tech Deck Park." I'm like, not really. We can bring those out, but without them, there is no Black River. Without Black River, there's nothing like this that's going on, So
Well, that's the
whatever.
important thing too, is just to make sure that we're constantly paying homage to the companies that, have been here before us. And so,
Yeah, no, for
recognizing,
sure.
the Black Rivers and the Berlin Woods and the Mike Snyders and, just all these people that kind of paved the way for us to even be
No,
able to
most
do this.
definitely.
Because new age fingerboarders versus old age fingerboarders, I mean, it's a night and day difference between what information was available. And like, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Like fingerboarding, when we first started fingerboarding, like I didn't even know until after I got those VHS movies for like Flying Fingers and Fingers of Fury, stuff like that, that a lot of these tricks were even possible, because we didn't have Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that to even like
Oh
get
yeah.
off of. And so like we didn't see it happen. It wasn't possible. It didn't exist. And
Well,
so
seeing
like,
skating's the same way too, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
I remember I showed a guy here that I work with who's probably 35. Oh God, he might be 30. I showed him some of the local crew and Get Real. They did an Instagram post of an edit basically of like the best trick and some of the stuff going down. He was just looking at me. He's like, people didn't do that when I was skating. It's like people didn't just throw this one dude like backside 360 flip 50-50s down this ledge down like a 4-star ledge, and he's like, people didn't just do that. Like the whole thing's expanded. For skateboarding's grown and expanded to where
Mm-hmm.
fingerboarding, like the things that we think are possible. So yeah, it's been pretty cool to be around that too, to see that stuff go down. I always love it at the end of those local crew events when they do the product toss. And I love seeing kids run out of there with their Gibby on, or like they're down there fighting some other kid to pull a Gibby away from somebody or whatever. That like makes my day. That's what it's all about right there.
It's actually crazy how skateboarding is almost bridging the gap with fingerboarding. Like, you used to be able to fingerboard and like do things that you can only imagine doing on a skateboard. And like
Oh
the
yeah.
new age of kids now are like literally like doing stuff that like you might not even be able to do on a fingerboard type stuff. Like that gap is slowly disappearing, in my opinion. Like I'm watching
And
some
I've
of
seen
these.
more. It's more inclusive too, man. I've seen, you see Barracks posting that Barracks has their own little park that Tech Deck put there or whatever, and they'll post some of that stuff here and there, and you'll see, on Tech Deck, there's always been like the replicas of pro boards, but you'll actually
Yeah.
see some people. And Nija has his little thing and stuff like that. So it's definitely a little more inclusive too, more seen as like, I don't know. I think it was kind of seen before, in the 90s, early 2000s, that some people who couldn't skate were doing that
Yeah.
or whatever. And now it's almost yeah, just one and the same kind of thing, which is always cool to
Definitely.
be able
It's
to.
like roller coaster because when I fingerboarded when I was super young, I was trying to imitate what I saw skateboarders do. And then I feel like we kind of progressed past skateboarding. And then skateboarding is getting to a point now where I think it might actually start progressing
Ridiculous.
past fingerboarding. Yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there's like Shane
Well,
O'Neill
because
and
the
a few
grab,
other guys, they're doing stuff that like, I'm like, man, I got to step up my fingerboarding game because these guys are good. Like,
I've never been too big on the fingerboarding grabs on like the style things. Like some people make it look really good,
mhm.
but I'm and so would that skateboarding will always have that over fingerboarding in my opinion. Any sort of grabs, any sort of anything. It always because there's the extra man. We got the 5 digits. If we didn't have the pinky, we didn't have you know what I mean. Like we could pull it off, but there's always that little extra that makes me kind of. Everyone's got their own little style
I
things or
know for
whatever.
sure, for sure.
I'm not great on. I'm not. That's probably why I suck at like transition stuff because I don't have the grabs or whatever. I'm very street. Like if I ever I couldn't tell you how many transition tricks I have. None. I can shove it on my
Well, it's kind
but
of wild. I actually started
style.
off on transition stuff. And so having the tech deck quarter pipes and stuff like that, because like that's back when like I didn't even realize that like a lot of these street tricks were even like possible on a
Mm-hmm.
fingerboard because we didn't have the Instagram, YouTube stuff where you just be like, oh yeah, this guy's doing this. Like I said, if we didn't see somebody else do it or know someone else who did it, like it didn't exist. And so transition
Yeah.
tricks are way easier. Like, do a pop shove it off of a
Mm-hmm.
transition versus doing a pop
That's
shove
what
it
that
off
dude
my
said in
grab.
Fingers of Fury too.
Yeah, that's where I got a lot of that stuff from. So
Yeah. No,
until
totally.
I saw those videos and realized like, okay, like this is like everything you can do on a skateboard can theoretically be done on a fingerboard. Like I didn't know that stuff even existed back then.
Yeah, for sure. You ever use shoes?
I
You ever get your fingers
can't.
all dressed up or what?
Well, one, my
I don't
fingers are
have any.
huge, and so like I have to like bust out the laces all the way to like the max
Oh
just to kind of
yeah.
get them in there. And so like for people that don't understand, I have a size 14 and a half ring finger. So like I got some serious paws here.
Yeah, sausage fingers for sure. I don't have small
Definitely.
hands either. Yeah, I don't have small hands either. I've never tried a pair. Um, I did
They're
have this
cool.
guy.
There's just no feeling like you though because
Oh yeah, the
fingerboarding,
vertical.
you're vertical versus being horizontal.
I'll show you these. So this guy, what is his name on Instagram? OG Jakey Snakey or Snaky Jakey. He one of the people who hit me up on. I was like, hey, you want to trade? I don't think he's. I'm not sure if he even sells boards, but he sent me like a board and some hand drawn stickers and this handmade. He did way overdid the trade, by the way. If he ever listens to this, dude, I owe you something. I sent him a board. It was a deck for a deck, right? He showed up with a deck and this trash can and this other stuff, but he made these little. I think they're handmade leather fingerboard shoes, but they just slide on
Hmm.
like thimbles almost, and the
Yeah.
bottom has the leather and the top has the laces. And I was just like, how has nobody ever done this? And it's way
That
easier than I would assume a
yeah.
regular shoe is. It's still not quite there. He uses the deck he sent me actually had real skate grip on it, and I bet you it's easier that way. The foam wanted to be a little too grippy with the leather, but I'll send you a picture of it or something when
Huh.
I get home. It was definitely a little different, but yes, I could assume I've never done the other finger shoes, but I could assume the verticalness of
Yeah,
the
it's
finger
different because you don't even
makes it
skate
very
like
hard.
that. Like, yeah. And so with the
Dude's like Tech
shoes,
Duck. That guy's the man with his
yeah, there's a
big
guy
hammer
they
thing.
called Finger Hustler, that guy out of like Russia or Ukraine or somewhere over there. Like he's killing it on there as well. But yeah, I can't do them. I mean I could if I
I
put
never
in
done them.
serious time behind it, but I mean just
No
the
finger
fact that
pants for me.
well, it's you can deck them out. I mean, I've seen like the pants and the shoes, and I've seen some
Hmm.
guys do like some kind of weird charm where it looks like a necklace. And like,
Oh yeah,
I mean, you
I've
can
seen. I haven't seen the guy forever. It was like tatted fingers, or whatever. There's a guy who had like a skeleton, full on skeleton tattooed
oh
on his
yeah.
hands and stuff like that. But even then, he's like doing layback.
That's
The dude's
wild.
like
That's
laying down
wild.
backward. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't gone far enough. Some of the guys on the team, I think one guy, Ace, got a King Ace. One of the dudes on the team, he got a skateboard tattooed on the inside of his finger. We've talked to a bunch of the team has talked about doing a feather, like the feather that's on the top of our boards, and doing it like on the outside of your index finger right there, so you can see it all the time.
Gotcha.
Nobody-
You haven't even
I
talked to
probably
our
should,
team.
I haven't. I was just gonna say I should probably talk about the team for a second.
Definitely shout out the team.
Yeah, Bird Gang. I love you guys. So we have a team. I think right now the team's at 18. I was looking the other day. We have 14 adults, and then we've got 4 kids. And I have the adult chat. I talk with these guys every single day, guys and gal. Casey from Tulsa is the female on the team. But we talk every day. Everybody says good morning to each other. We say top of the top or top. Everybody just like every morning is just top, top, top. Yeah, just the best group of people that I know. Honestly, that's how I decided or how we determined who was going to be on the team. It's just the people that have been like legit and just the coolest people to me. I've asked them to represent the brand. There's no tryout. There's no anybody who's ever asked has always been told that's not how it works. I'll always respond. You know, every kid wants to, hey, will you sponsor me? It doesn't happen as much as it used to, but for a while there, it was like every day, 5 kids a day asking to get sponsored. But yeah, it's just people that I think are the coolest and that I've gotten to know over the time they've been doing it. And whether they've used the board or not, I'll generally just ask them like, hey, you want to be a part of the squad? And then we just talk every day. Everybody shares their stuff. Ace, one of the guys, King Ace I was just talking about, Ace had a job interview the other day and he was all dressed up and he's like, hey guys, got a job interview today. Hopefully I get the job kind of thing. And we're like, hell yeah, dude. And then, you know, looking awesome. And then we found out today he got the job and we're just like stoked on it. And yeah, everybody's just there for everybody, whether it be through fingerboarding or anything else. And then we have 4 younger kids that I keep in a separate chat. I don't want to like influence anybody or somebody will be out partying or whatever. And I just don't want to deal with that. But we have a lot of really cool people that represent the brand. And we're really just grateful to have them all. We actually have 2 girls, one adult girl, Casey, and then we have a younger one, Miss Maple Robinson. She's super awesome. Good little skater too. A couple of the young kids can really skate really well. So that's always cool to see.
Definitely. I think that they don't have the fear factor yet as like some of the.
No.
I think that's where a lot of the progression comes from for the younger skaters.
We have there's a couple of the older guys that can skate too. Justin's really good. There's a handful of them that are pretty good on the real board too. I just am blown away by it. Willie from Carmel, I didn't know, but he was a ripper. That guy can skate or used to be able to skate. He's dealt with some injuries, but he, I think, was pretty big in the European team for a little bit. He's actually on our team. He's one of the coolest guys. It's a little different with him than everybody else. He's got his own site and his own product and his own brand, and he sells a lot of other people's brands, but he's always represented ours, shared our stuff, and been a huge member of the chat. Everybody always does. It'll be funny because I'll push play or something out loud in like a restaurant or something. I have to be like whatever, but everyone always goes squaw, squaw, or whatever. Everyone will do a little squaw call to each other, and Willie's are some of the funniest because he's in Gran Canaria, which is an island outside of Spain, and so there's always that little the language barrier and stuff there, and he just cracks me up, man. There's some good people in the group, and it's been a blessing to have them in my life, not even to be a part of theirs, to have them in mine. It's been really awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. So do you have, I mean, outside of the event coming up, you have any other like future projects, anything in the woodworks?
There's a couple things. There's a couple possible collabs coming up with some people. We have I guess the only thing we haven't really talked about, and I don't think on any of our talks, is that we have a team artist. His name's Elijah. He's out of Dallas. He's done, I'd say, all but 2 of the graphics that we've done, and those were signature series graphics that people hired their own artists for. He's out of Dallas. He's an art teacher in Dallas, and he actually approached me when this whole thing happened during COVID about wanting to design a skateboard. He did it as a group project that is in his art class, and then he designed our first board, and he's done a bunch of them. He did the original Gibby, and any of the riffs that have been off of it have been from him. That crusty Gibby that we just did where the bird was like a concrete bag and a concrete bag breaks down or whatever, and it's all sand.
Yeah.
that was actually Abstract's signature board, the
Hmm.
Josh's that got me into it. He's crusty, man. His park's all nasty and crusty outside, and he's an electrician and wears one of those yellow hard hats every day. So everything about that was kind of him. But yeah, Elijah's helped us out through this whole thing and just been really awesome about it. But I've been approached by a couple different artists about some collabs. We've got a couple things in the works. So, but no, not really. Just keep doing what we're doing after the event. I mentioned the Fingerboard Fridays that hopefully we'll hook up with Jimmy at Get Real when he gets his spot going. But really, just just doing what we're doing, trying to get better at it. Do everything we can for fingerboarding and be in as many events as we can be. I know after your event, I hit you up and said that you can count on us as a tour sponsor for the tour this year. So we'll definitely be doing that, and just trying to get as involved with it as we can.
No, yeah, definitely. No, thank you. Yeah, we're working on some things for 2024. So 2024 is looking like it's gonna be a good year.
I mean, you got to go to all of them. I can only assume that Dallas was the best event, but it was awesome and it blew my mind. And I was just like, I got to be a part of that. I saw some of the other brands that were. I mean, we did the stop sponsor, I guess is what we called it, the stop sponsor for Dallas. But to see the brands that were on the big posters and on all of the merch and everything like that, I was like, okay, we got to do that this year. So that's our big focus for this year, on top of just doing what we're doing.
No, definitely. And like you were saying with, making sure that, you guys, show the sponsors and stuff like that some love, that's what we do. We do, all the city promotions, we do the tour promotions. Obviously, if you move up to like a tour sponsor, we've got name on all the credentials, stuff like that. I mean, like, we kind of step it up a little bit, definitely for the tour sponsors versus like the city sponsors, stuff like that. But for me, like, I try to make sure that, like, if you sponsor a stop or you sponsor a tour, like, you are properly represented for months at a time as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just being able to sponsor it and just like do what we could for that kind of event. Yeah, like I said, I'll do anything for any event. I'll do a pack for any event, but your guys' event was like next level. So next level sponsorship is for sure.
No,
It'll be really good.
Appreciate that.
I plan to take a lot of the stuff that you guys did and do it at our event with the raffles. You guys always had something going, and that's what I want. I mean, the event we're doing is from 1 to 6. So for 5 hours, whether it be a comp or a raffle or something's going to be going on, but minimal downtime at least, to sesh all the parks and get ready for whatever. But
that's what
we're hoping.
Do at our events. I make sure that there's literally always something going on. There's never like a dull moment. And so, if we don't have a competition going on, like we usually start off, all our events are 12 to 6 hours. We do a lot. It's a packed 6-hour event.
Yeah. And no, everybody at the Dallas event they weren't done. You guys were packing it up with people still trying to fingerboard it.
I know. We couldn't even get everybody up out of there. And so it was amazing. I love all the stops. And so, like, you going to the Dallas one is just awesome. But, like, the other 8 stops in the tour, each one of those has its own set of people, their own vibes. Like, I mean, it's like every Dallas can't be compared to any other stop just because the Dallas boys down there, like, there's the whole vibe that they bring and stuff. It's unreal. And so something with the Big East with like Philly and Drake Hut, Atlanta. If you ever go to Atlanta, Atlanta's fire. Everybody that went to the Atlanta event's like, yeah, dude, this is what's up. And so, I mean, it's crazy. We even go to Canada, which is nuts.
Yeah, at Six Skates, I saw that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. On that Dallas event, so like this last June, I went out to Southern Oregon. I did an event with Bailey from Blistered. We did an awesome event at the Walkabout Brewery there in Medford. It was really cool. And I got to meet a bunch of people like Cliff and his family from Flock Decks, and Kenneth, who does Ditch Decks, and some people like that. And then they turn up at the Dallas event. They just happened to be in town. Hawaii FB, who I told you I sent that one of those first boards to, he happened to roll through. And so, yeah, just seeing all these people at those events, that was really cool too. That was a huge plus for us. Like, on top of seeing the Dallas crew, who we already knew was going to be there.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Cliff and his family from Flock Decks, they're awesome. And his kids are awesome. Like, I saw him at the Oregon event, and by the time I saw him in Dallas, was hugging on him. He's got some little girls, and his son Azariah. They're just like cute as can be, and he's super into the fingerboarding scene. So it's really cool that they've been bringing him around doing that. Cliff's just a cool guy, anyways.
Yeah,
And
definitely. I thought I traveled, but the
no,
Flock
those
Decks
guys
crew,
they had a summer.
Yeah, they be traveling.
I think he went to the VU. He went to the Rendezvous. I think he had a couple of your spots, and I mean, Stephanie works the business side of it while he does the socialing and making the decks. Obviously, she had a booth there. Yeah, she was really cool to see. They just had an event last weekend or the weekend before in McMinnville in Oregon.
Yeah,
the back to school event. So we sent them out a pack. Like, it's just been really cool. Everything coming full circle like that. Spork Decks. That guy was where's he? He's in Prineville, Oregon, small little town. He sent me an awesome pack the other day. He does some really cool stuff with some laser etching, like these awesome geometrical designs and stuff like that. There's so many cool companies and so many cool people out there that you don't even really push their product that much, that are doing really awesome stuff just for like the love of fingerboarding.
No, definitely. That's why I like the podcast. I get to get a lot of you guys on here, and you guys are just, telling us your journey, your vision, getting to meet the, the people behind the brand, stuff like that. And so this is what I live for. I love it.
No, it's been super cool. This last summer was by far the coolest as far as fingerboarding. Every year it's gotten better and better. So yeah, that's just what we're hoping to do, is just to keep doing what we're doing and meeting more people and doing more events and going from there for sure.
No, definitely. I know you probably got a massive list of shout outs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll condense it as much as I can.
You don't gotta get into it. I mean, spread the love. Spread the love.
Yeah, my wife, first and foremost, she's my rock. She's everything. She's came up with half of this stuff and deals with all of it, drives to the events, and is always there by my side to support anything I've ever done. The Bird Gang, every single one of you guys, I'm sure I'll miss somebody, so I won't even try to drop one name. Each one of them is my favorite person, for sure. They're all my favorite riders. And I mean, honestly, like, fingerboarding is cool, and I like checking everybody's feet out and all their stuff, but I just watch my own team half the time and see what they're doing. And it's been really cool to have that big of a like a family unit. So I love you guys. God's good, man. I'm super blessed and highly favored. That's what I would say. Biggest shout out, Jesus Christ, right there. At 41, after all the things I've been through and all the ups and downs, to be where I'm at right now, it's nothing less than that. Nothing less than blessed. So that would be what I'd have to say for sure. Just fingerboard, man. Big shout out to fingerboarding as a whole. I love it. I'm grateful for it and just happy to be a part of it.
No, definitely. I know I've got a few shout outs as well. First off, if you guys have made it to this point, finger the like button.
Yeah,
definitely like and share. And like, if you made it this far, like, for sure, like, definitely subscribe. You're a real one, for real. And then also, if you are watching this on Patreon before anybody else getting that early access, thank you for supporting the channel, supporting the podcast. And if you want to support the podcast, definitely reach out to us on Instagram at USAFBL. Definitely get on Patreon. We got subscription boxes. We've got all kinds of cool stuff on there. So definitely support one of the causes. COTY, Combo of the Year. We are into September once this launches. So we'll have the September Dirty Dozen. We're giving out $1,000 cash and prize packs for second, third, and fourth runner up. So submit your best combination trick to.
I haven't seen September. I was looking at August.
Well, for you, it drops tomorrow. For everybody else, it dropped last week. So definitely. So submit your best combo.
He's not. There's been some team fluctuations. There's a guy who Asher Green FBS.
Yes,
he's got one in the August one. Asher's legit. He recently moved on. I don't think anyone even really knows it yet. The team knows. it happens. People move, but like it's hard to not take personal in some ways. But he's such a good kid, and I wish nothing for the best for him. So I hope he wins the money. I hope Asher takes it. Um, Green FBS, good dude. I mean, there's been so many good people along the way. Like, yeah, just all good people in this scene, and I'm really appreciative of it. One thing I did forget to shout out all the West Coast homies, all of the people in Oregon and the Pacific Northwest. Bailey, like I mentioned, that we did that event. Um, Andrew Norman, who you're going to have on, the Pacific Northwest Collective. That dude, all of those people pushing over there. Oregon's always going to be my home, even if I don't live there. So, and they made me feel at home, even in my hometown, kind of a thing. Like, so whatever those dudes are out pushing, I'm backing it too.
No, definitely.
And that's where I met Cliff and all those guys out there. Cliff's out there in Oregon doing his thing. Just good people. That would be who I forgot. Is my Oregon peeps on the
you can't
all my
forget the
hometown
West
peeps?
Coast. You can't forget the
No,
West Coast.
definitely not. I went back. I'm going to go back every year. It'd been a while since I'd been back, and I already have planned to go back in August. We're going to do another event. I have another family. Everyone's getting older over there. All my family's still over there, so I've got like a 50th. It was a graduation last time, and this time it's going to be like a 50th wedding anniversary that I got to go to. So I'm just going to make sure and make a stop every summer, and we'll do a fingerboard event every time.
Let's do it.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. So yeah, definitely. But yeah,
I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, COTY combo of the year.
Yeah.
Submit your combo, best combos.
Go for green.
Go for green.fbs. I think he's still in the running. So you can submit that at USAFBL_COTY. Also, all this cool merch. You got Curved, you got the podcast, you've got USAFBL, we've got sweatshirts, hoodies, we've got all the winter gear. So you can get all that exclusively at USAFBL.com. Get all that cool merch. Also, where can people find you on social media, Josh?
Just at Gibby Decks on Instagram. The link's in the bio. I think that's the only one that's the only one I'm on. I mean, if somebody wants to get a hold of me on Facebook, my name's Josh Hinojosa, or Hosa Runners on Instagram is my personal Instagram. Check it out. I'm always out there running or golfing or doing something. But yeah, links in the bio on Instagram, or hit me up on the DMs. I keep it pretty simple. We've got a big cartel, just like everybody else, so nothing crazy.
Yeah,
I'll take your money. I'll take your money from PayPal, Venmo, you name it. Send it on through. I'll send you a piece of wood with some holes in it.
Well, we'll definitely have all the Gibby links in the description. You'll have all the USFBL Universe links in the description as well. We've got some bangers lined up for you on the podcast. I know we've got Wasaki Wheels lined up. We've got your boy Andrew Norman lined up as well. And we've got some stuff.
We need to get Geraldine. We need to get Geraldine and Benny on here.
Definitely.
If they've made it this far, they're the real OGs. And Geraldine, and Benny, you need to jump on this thing.
Yeah. And then if there's a special guest that you guys want on the podcast, hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Who do you want to see on the podcast? So, all right. This has been a fun, fulfilling episode. Josh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Again, anytime. Look forward to seeing you at the event. We'll hit some lines together for sure.
Definitely. Till next time.